Welcome, everybody. I'm Ogden Mayor Ben Nadolski, and we're here at the Ogden Way podcast, the place where we tell Ogden stories by telling the stories of Ogden's people. And today, we're telling the story of Evan Parker, the manager of the Ogden Raptors. Go Raptors.
Go Raptors.
Go Raptors, baby.
Yes, sir.
Evan, thanks for being here, man. I've seen you in action a ton.
Yep.
Hear a lot about you. I probably hear more about you than you want me to hear because of Cindy, but I thank her for connecting you and I and inviting you here today.
Only half of it's true, by the way, whatever you've heard. So
I know, right? You can only believe half the stuff that comes out of that woman, right?
No, yeah, I really appreciate you having me on. This is an honor. As I mentioned before we started, I appreciate the efforts you're putting into the city and all the work. I definitely take notice of it, and this is a great opportunity. And thank you, Cindy, for lining this up. And I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, no, thank you. And let's not be so praiseworthy to Cindy that it goes to her head, right?
Sure. Yeah, I know.
We got to keep ourselves in check, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Just kidding. Cindy's an awesome lady. She's good people.
Yes.
You are an Ogden boy.
Born and raised, right?
Like, proud to be.
Ogden Regional, been here all the way through. Bonneville High School, and then ended up playing at Utah Tech. So I've kind of covered the whole state. I played travel ball growing up down kind of South Salt Lake area. So I've really played in every part of Utah, but Ogden's my heart, man. It's where it is.
That's one thing I know about you without knowing you and getting to know you. I've always known you're an Ogden boy.
Yep.
You love this town. You and I share something else in common too. You actually played JUCO ball.
Yes.
Right? In Nevada?
Yep, Western Nevada.
So I played junior college football in Phoenix.
Yep.
But I played a lot of baseball growing up. Phoenix is a big baseball city.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't quite like today's day and age where you play year-round and all this accelerated travel.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like that when I was young. But that's a year-round baseball city.
Sure.
Right.
And, I mean, the volume of players that come out of there, I mean, that has a lot to do with the weather and the infrastructure and stuff like that.
Yep.
But I like to think that, being from where I'm from, hold my own with anybody. And,
right.
You do take notice of those guys that get to be outside a lot. And the travel ball thing has become so, it's escalated quickly, even just since I was younger.
Out of control to a point.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, watching workload for pitchers, especially, and young kids who are playing too much, you gotta watch that stuff. But yeah, great baseball. I actually lived down there for a while when I was with the Brewers. I played on the Diamondback scout team, so I've lived in Arizona as well, and got a taste of some good playing, good players down there.
There you go. So when I was a kid, Cactus League spring training.
Yeah.
Did you do spring training in Phoenix?
Yep.
So I grew up. My dad is awesome. He's the best man I've ever known is my dad, and he did business all around town, selling insurance and financial instruments and stuff. And he would just drop me off at spring training, me and my buddy Sprout, most often at A's spring training.
Oh, yeah.
And we were on a first name basis with Ricky Henderson.
Oh, man. R.I.P. One of the GOATs, dude.
GOAT.
Yes.
Right. Remember when he broke the stealing record and he held up the base?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
we're like, Ricky. We felt like he was our guy.
Yeah. I mean, only Ricky Henderson can speak in third person, so.
Right. I know. Hey, Ricky do good things.
Yeah, Ricky does what he does.
I know. But I grew up around baseball, playing a ton of baseball. My dad coached me, all of my four siblings in baseball and softball. I had one sister that was the best athlete of all of us.
Yep.
And I love the game of baseball. I love what it does for kids. I love what sport does for kids and for families and for people.
Sure.
Builds grit, builds resilience. But you being the manager of Ogden Raptors can also build community.
Sure.
Right?
And that is one of the biggest reasons why I'm here. A lot of things have happened for me in a fortunate sense of, I'm a big believer that, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So I definitely feel like I've worked to be in the position that I'm in, but I mean, for it to all come full circle where I'm in my hometown doing what I love. I love this sport. Going back to what you were saying, baseball is a game of failure. It's a game of strategy. It's a skill sport. There's so many things that you can learn from it in terms of the cause and effect, the work that you've got to put in, the attention to detail. And to me, it's the greatest game in the world, And I love all the major sports, but, I'm obviously a little biased to baseball.
Right. And I love baseball, love football.
Yeah.
I just love sport because I love competition. I love what competition creates within us. I love the people that we become by learning hard lessons through sport. And you learn those lessons through sport so that you don't have to learn them in life.
Yep.
But you can apply them in life.
Yep.
Right. And I think that's a rare thing that is taken for granted, but also overlooked by too many people, that if we give our kids more opportunity to more competitive opportunities, we're giving our kids something to grow through.
I totally agree with that. And the adversity, I always kind of get down, like when I'm talking, I run a private training facility in the off season. I can only do it in parts of the off season now because running the team is being the guy in charge is pretty time consuming. But I always tell these guys, I say, hey, look, baseball taught me how to work hard and then apply those principles to life. I always stress that school is very important, especially when you get into being an NCAA athlete. Mm-hmm. Even before that, in high school, you need to be a student athlete. You need to take your education serious. But if you don't like school, well, just find a way to take that mindset that you have towards the sport that you love and apply it to the classroom. And then when you learn how to do that, you can kind of couple that mindset and turn it into doing anything in life.
That's correct.
Being a friend, being a father, being a son, family member, anything.
What it is, right?
Professional career. So yeah, the sport has certainly taught me more about life than anything.
Right. I take a fair amount of guff.
Yeah.
From people in this job, but sometimes I take a lot of crap for talking about sports so much.
Sure.
I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm totally unapologetic about it because I am who I am because of it. Also because of my family. Also because of my community, right? Mm. But sport taught me more than I could ever imagine, more than I could ever explain.
Yep.
Put me through more challenge and more heartache, showed me more triumph and more challenge to the triumph than anything.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And you're right. You apply that same mindset to everything that's in life, and apply it to the campaign to be the mayor. Apply it to every single day of being the mayor. Mm-hmm. Right? I was telling you before we started, how many times did me and Mike McBride talk about hitting dingers today?
Yeah.
It might just feel like a figment of, or a little expression.
Yeah.
But for Mike and I, it's a thing that we connect with on. We both understand what that means for each other.
Absolutely.
Right? It means we're going to go out, we're going to do good things, and we're going to win for Ogden today. And when you cobble together wins, you create championships for Ogden.
Championship mindset, man.
I know.
You really have to have it in everything. Athletics is one of those mediums where you can learn it. I have good friends who are, engineers and, gone through very difficult school paths and education paths and stuff. And similarly, that you get out what you put in. And you have to apply yourself in a certain way. It has to be a certain level of focus. It has to be, all of those things. But the thing that you said is the competition.
Yep.
Sport makes you compete. That's an objective measure of what you do in sports. And so I don't think you should apologize at all for having learned the way that you are, having been an athlete, because you know what? It makes you tough, man. It makes you tough. It teaches you resiliency. Teaches you life lessons, and I think it's beautiful. Right. It's why I told you you're doing a good job.
Appreciate it, man. Well, we're gonna keep focused on more wins.
Sure.
Hitting more dingers, right?
Yep.
Winning championships, having a championship mindset as a community and a city.
Yep.
Building more winners and more wins for our people and with our people.
There
right?
you go, man.
Facilitating success for others. Just think about facilitating wins for and with others. However you need to frame it in your mindset based on how you were wired and built.
Sure.
Let's just reach for our own greatness, step into our own greatness.
Well, I'm behind you on it 100%, and I think that everybody else in this town should be, because, I think it's important that you got to have someone at the top with that winning mindset. It's the bottom line.
Well, a baseball club needs the same.
You
right?
are exactly right. You're exactly right.
So I'm looking at this ring on your hand.
Yes, sir.
Championship ring.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
What are we doing, and what can we do in the upcoming season? Tell us more about what we have in store for the upcoming season. What we're putting in place to continue to drive toward that championship.
And I mean, it's the goal every year, and the thing that you have to understand about the laws of averages of especially sports is that, there's a reason that you don't see, teams winning the World Series year after year after year. I mean, it's a very tough industry in terms of doing that. But what you want to do is you want to contend every year. You want to compete every year to the best of your abilities. Okay. So, looking back on 2023 when we won the championship, there were waves of adversity that we went through. But, when you're able to utilize the lessons that you learned while you're going through the adversity to push through, that's when you're going to find, it's like, what's the saying? Whatever you're looking for is on the other side of that hard thing, or something along those lines. That's my goal for my guys every day. And I think for me personally, right now, I think I'll have to fact check myself. At least last year, I believe I was the youngest manager in professional baseball. So I'm relatable to my guys in a way because I'm kind of close to their age. But my guys know I have their backs, and I don't ask them to do anything that I don't do. I say, hey, look, I'm going to show up here every day. I'm going to give you everything I got. If you think that I expect all of us to have 100% of our potential by, we play 100-something games in 100-something days. We're all going to get beat up mentally, physically. It's going to happen, And so, but if you'll just show up and you bring what you got and you just you leave it out there that night, you have nothing to regret.
Same thing I tell my kids.
And you're not going to win every outcome on everything. You're never going to have a perfect record in anything. You know what I mean? I look at some of these Hall of Fame managers who are, idols of mine. Tommy Lasorda, who spent, I had that's a legend that I got a decent amount of time to spend, around and talking to him. And, you look at some of the adversity that he went through and, Hall of Fame managers, Hall of Fame coaches in general. I mean, you think about these guys and you just have to accept that you're not going to be perfect, but it's about the application of bringing it every day.
It's because it's a process. It's a build.
Yes.
I mean, Hall of Fame managers don't become Hall of Fame managers overnight. They built themselves into Hall of Fame managers and coaches, right?
Sure.
It's by building champions. I think what you were saying before is success is on the other side of the work that you haven't done yet.
Yep.
Right? And this mentality of embracing the grind, leaning into the grind and learning to love the grind. That's just the process, however long it takes. And I have to think in your setting, that there's so much change in rosters, across, not just on your team, but on the other teams that you're playing as well. There's so much change in your travel dynamics and injuries and right. There's just so much change that you have to manage all the way through. So it would be hard to continue to build, but probably what I'm thinking is you must be building culture.
That's exactly right. And to kind of go off of that this is what they call a transactional business, and I tell these guys all the time because, the goal is every guy wants to play in the big leagues, and
and we'd love to put as many in the big leagues as possible because it means we're recycling talent through our town.
Yep. Right? And we just had one of my guys from this last year get signed by the Houston Astros. I always stress to these guys, look, you're one transaction away, right? That's all it is. All you got to be is a transaction, but it is a transactional business. And one formula for success, especially when we won it, we had the least amount of transactions of any team in the league that year. And to me, the correlation is that when you have that group, and you can attest to this, is like if you can get that group of people around you, the people that you trust, the team that you can work with and move with as a unit,
that's right.
You guys are ultimately going to give yourselves the best chance to succeed.
That's right.
Absolutely. And as the guy at the top, me being the guy writing the lineup every day and, deciding who's going to be in our starting rotation, the best coaches and managers that I've had are guys that understand the ability to put guys in positions to succeed. You have to be a talent evaluator. You have to be a skills evaluator. And when you put those guys into positions to succeed, you haven't played football. It's like if you got a guy on the defensive side of the ball playing in the wrong position, he's probably not in the best position to succeed, But if you can look at skill sets, put those guys in the right positions, you're going to give yourself, your team, and everyone else around you a chance to get it done.
It's like another way of saying you got to get the right people on the bus, but you got to get the right people on that bus in the right seats.
Yes, that's exactly right.
As you build culture, what's the most important thing when you build that culture, especially when you've got, one transaction away, you're also one transaction the other way. Maybe one transaction away from going up to the bigs, one transaction away from being out altogether, right?
Right.
So how do you, what kind of core values do you focus on when you're building that kind of culture?
I mean, day one when I sit down with my guys, I talk to these guys all off season, and going back to kind of what we can expect for this year, I've got a good returning core of players, right? Which is very helpful because, going into last year, we lost a lot of our championship team, and I had to kind of,
that's the consequence of success.
Yep, exactly. You got to hit a rebuild a little bit. So, but on day one, when that clubhouse door closes, I say, hey, look, this is where you're going to see the version of me that is the manager. I talk to y'all off season. I want to make sure you're in a positive mindset coming in here, but this is where reality sets in. And the number one thing I say is, my first rule is you respect yourselves, you respect the game, you respect your peers, and that's non-negotiable. And every team's going to have a little bit different nuances in terms of you want to listen to your players, you want to listen to your team members and let them know that their feedback and communicating with them is important. But non-negotiables for me is the respect factor. If you respect the game and you do things the right way, good things will happen. Mm-hmm. I believe in the baseball gods. I have faith myself. So it's like, if you don't do things the right way, you're asking for negative outcomes, in my opinion. So that's the basis of my culture, is we respect what we do. Mm-hmm. And I always remind these guys, look, man, we're in my hometown.
Yeah, right.
I have a lot of pride about.
I got a lot on the line here.
Yeah, right. I got a lot of pride about the way we go about our business. So as long as we can keep that in perspective, we won't have any problems.
Dude, I can't tell you how much I share that perspective.
Sure.
Obviously, I have a job to do here as the mayor. I'm like, this isn't just my job. This is my town. Mm-hmm. This is serious.
Yeah.
Right. So if I mess something up at work, it's more than just something didn't go right at work. Mm-hmm. Mess something up in this town.
Yeah.
And this is where I live. It's where my kids are going to live. Where I'm raising them. Where all my friends and my neighbors are doing the same. Mm-hmm. This is important. We got to get this right. I hadn't thought about that for you. I should have.
Yeah.
So
well, and that was, look, man, I went through the interview process. I was the pitching coach before I ever got the manager's job. Mm-hmm. I've worked my way up, and I'm proud of that, because I in this industry, there are no handouts. Nope, everything is earned. Not. Everything is earned, and I've always
easily quantified on that scoreboard.
Yep. I've always prided myself on having that mindset of working like my job could be taken away. I don't want anything given to me. I want that challenge every day of showing up and earning it. Yeah. What's the saying? Rent's due every day, or something like that.
Sure.
But whatever. But working my way up through like the interview process, I was up against some guys that simply had more experience than me. They were older. They've, maybe they played in the big leagues or whatever like that. But, when I sat down with Dave, our owner, I'll never forget the first question he asked me is, he goes, I know Evan Parker, the pitching coach. He goes, but what could I expect from you as our manager if I hired you?
Sure.
And I said, I don't know if there's a guy that you could hire that would walk in here every day and wear that uniform with as much pride as me. I said, that's it. I said, I will.
It's a fact.
It is a fact. And I put everything on the line, and ultimately players will reciprocate that respect, because they understand that not only am I doing it for my hometown, I love the game of baseball, but I'm doing it for them. And you got to lead from the top, man. You can't expect your guys to do stuff that you won't do. I have an open door policy. These guys know they can come in and talk to me not only about baseball, but about life, because, sometimes, and I'm sure you maybe even feel this way at times, like you almost have to be a psychologist sometimes. You've got I figured you.
Well, I got 90,000 psychologists judging me all the time.
Yeah. Professionals too, right?
Armchair stuff for you as well, right?
Yep. So, I just think that, just going back to it, leading by example. You got to do it. It's a non-negotiable for me.
I think the way you explained respect for the game, for each other, right?
Yep.
I got another way to simplify it. You feel free to take it or not, or
Sure.
leave it. But it's kind of a family rule for us. We just summarize it by saying, "Don't be a dick."
Hey, there
Bam,
you go.
just like that.
I'm glad you said it.
Just like that.
Hey, that is pretty much exactly what I say. And
Could we have cut 10 minutes out of our interview if we just started with that?
Sure. Oh, man, dude, yeah. And I got no problem saying that, I get a little more colorful behind, when I get in my environment, I have to. I'm dealing with 26 to 30 pretty alpha males every day.
Driven dudes.
Who all think they're the best. And I want them to have that edge. I want them to have that, competitive edge. And so you got to keep those guys in check. And, I think I'm the guy for the job.
Yeah, it's a different atmosphere.
Yeah.
But I like to say, look, we're from Ogden, man. We're edgy.
Oh.
Like I'm unapologetic about it. We have a chip on our shoulder. We are a gritty town.
Yep.
We are a blue collar, roll up our sleeves, get it done town.
Yep.
And I am only electable in Ogden.
Oh yeah.
Because I
love
talk
that
like
for
that
you.
sometimes. Because I say things like that.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that.
And it's okay. This is who I am. If you don't like it, pound sand. So be it.
There you go.
But frankly, I think that's just Ogden.
And, I've watched, not only my parents, but, my parents have led by example their entire lives.
Yep.
I mean, they came down to 25th Street and started from basically nothing and have built 2 successful businesses. But, I've worked by following their example, and they are Ogden and I'm, you take a look at me, I look like I might fit in here, and so
you just might.
Yeah, I just might. And so, and that was a compliment that I took from my mom when I got this job. And she goes, I'm so proud of you, but she goes, you're Ogden. She goes, this is who you are. This is who you were born to be. And, you deserve to be in this position and go prove your worth.
Dude, I'm so excited for the season.
Yeah.
After having this conversation with you, because of course I go to the games and cheer on the Raptors.
Sure.
Right. And I've gone to games with Cindy. Cindy's a huge baseball fan, as you know. Right?
Really?
I know.
I didn't know that.
I know.
Her and Art.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
Right. They're Cardinals fans. It's like, whatever. Right. But I hear her cheer for you as much as anything when I'm at those games.
And I appreciate it.
And I want this to be an opportunity for people in Ogden to know you, because it's important that when we're at the games, we're there to cheer on you and to cheer on the Raptors, to cheer on Ogden, to cheer on the players. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Your success is ours.
Yep.
Ours is yours.
That's completely accurate. And, one thing that I really pride myself on is that, we've got some guys with some Utah roots on our team. And, managers that were here before, it might have worked out that, we get a Utah guy here and there, but, I got a guy who pitched at Ridgeline up in Cache Valley. Mm-hmm. One of my best relief pitchers last year, Sean Triplett. I picked up a kid out of Utah Valley, Cole Jordan. We signed the Pac-12 Pitcher of the Year this last year, Bryson Van Sickle, who's a Utah kid.
Nice.
I want these Utah guys here because they understand my level of pride for what we're doing. And there's really no way to look. When guys get in here, that's the other thing about building my culture. You got to buy in. If you're not in, I always just tell guys, hey, look, man.
If you're not in, might as well get out.
Like, honestly, the door's right there. Just save me the conversation of, having to give you your release and go through all of that. Just, you're either in or you're out. And that's it. I don't think that's asking for too much, but when you get these Utah guys, man, they really bring a different level of, it's in them. And I appreciate that. And I know that. And that was why I chose to, I had some offers to go to, schools in California. And, I went to Nevada early on because I think I wanted to leave a little bit and spread my wings. Yep. But when the opportunity came back to, play at Utah Tech and play for a coach who I loved, who changed my career and helped me get drafted, I've always had a ton of pride for the state of Utah. And I don't, that can't be taught.
Ogden's a sticky town. It's, there were, I came from Arizona when I came to Weber State.
Mm-hmm.
Played with a lot of guys from Arizona, California, all across the country, frankly.
Sure.
A lot of guys in Canada.
Yeah.
And it was funny because when you're of that age, I think we all wanted to kind of leave the nest a little bit.
Yeah.
So we all spread our wings, came different places, and I think we all had the intention of maybe going home when we're done, but Ogden just stuck you, like just grabbed you.
Yep.
And we all just either stayed afterward or left and came back.
Yep.
So many times. You know, of course, some went home and stayed home, but there was just so many players that came here, fell in love with here, and either left here or just stayed here. It is a hometown, man.
And
right.
I couldn't agree more with that. And one thing that I deal with is that, you know, we've got 12 teams in our league. Pretty much everyone travels in and out of here, even if it's just for a 6-game series or whatever. Yep. And, you know, I'm coaching third base, and, you know, I'm talking to some of the other team during batting practice and stuff. And, I mean, these guys are in awe. Some guys who've never been to Utah, guys from the East Coast who've never been out to the West, you know, and they're just like, you know, we did not expect this place to be in Utah based on, you know, what maybe the, you know, general consensus is throughout the states or whatever. But, I mean, Ogden is captivating. Captivating. I mean, you see these mountains, you see the town, you see the downtown district, you see, I mean, we've really got it all, man. I mean, I've lived in big, you know, I mean, you're from Arizona. You've lived in in the bad traffic and the stuff like that, you know.
Concrete jungle, man.
Yeah. It is the concrete jungle.
It's brutal.
It is. I was actually
the car culture is off the charts.
Yeah. And so Ogden's just got so many things that are captivating about it. And I think that that's kind of what you're alluding to is, I mean, you come here and you just go, whoa.
Yeah, it just feels good to be here. You feel a part of something, but you become a part of it.
Yep.
You don't just feel a part, you are a part of it.
Yes.
You get to be as involved as you want to be.
Yep.
You get to participate in the greatness of Ogden and the growth and,
Sure.
the building of the community as much as you want.
Sure.
You just got to roll up your sleeves, pick up a shovel, and do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Welcome to Ogden,
Welcome to Ogden, baby.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what we can expect for the Raptors moving forward. You talked a little bit about some of the pitching that you've signed.
Mm-hmm.
You started to sound a little bit like Jay Hill when you're talking about local talent, local recruiting, in-state guys. Tell us what we can expect from this year's roster, and what are some of the things that we're building on in preparation for the season, the opening day.
So, like I said, going back to last year, you know, I was in a rebuild stage. That's what happens. Like you said, when everybody ages out and we win, everybody kind of, you know, either moves up or gets signed or, you know, whatever.
Yep.
But I've got a lot of second-year guys, and I can tell you, being in year 5 of being involved with the Raptors, that second year of experience is huge for guys, because guys don't really know what to expect when you come into this level of baseball, you know. And so there's 4 MLB partner leagues, just to lay this out there for people who may not be familiar with it. There's 4 MLB partner leagues, which are basically a facet of the minor leagues throughout the nation. So, you know, the Pioneer League is kind of the West. You start moving closer to, you know, the East. You go Frontier League, American Association, Atlantic League, you know, but the Pioneer League is 3 years or less of service time. So you get the hungriest guys right out of college. We have the cheapest buyouts for Major League Baseball. So a ton of prospects are at this level, you know. And so I think that first year when guys first show up, it's impossible to know. You don't know what you don't know. So when guys show up and they see it and now they know what to expect, I've got a lot of those guys coming back. So not only do they know what to expect in terms of the competition, but they know my expectations, and I even call them standards. You know, this is our standard. We do not fall below it.
Non-negotiable.
So I have a ton of those guys coming in here, and you know this as a player, the coach and the coaching staff, we really kind of facilitate all of that stuff. But when you guys go in that clubhouse together as players, you guys take on your own identity kind of as well, right? And so I'm very excited about the guys that I have coming back, because I know what types of human beings they are. You know, I always say, hey, look, you know, I'd let that guy date my daughter type of thing, you know, or you get what I mean? Yeah. I got a lot of those
I wish I could relate. No boys are allowed to date my daughters.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
My daughters are
continue on.
Yeah. My daughters are young. I don't got to worry about it for a while, but, you know.
Yeah,
that time will come. But, you know, I got a lot of good dudes. I got a lot of good dudes.
Good men.
Who are, who are talented. They're more experienced. They understand what it means to be where we are, because when you go other places, there are nice places throughout the league. There's not a road trip I don't like. You know what I mean? There's something different about Ogden. and those guys know what to expect showing up here. So that's the first thing that I would say is that we've got that second year of experience where these guys know the whole picture, that they know what to expect to coming in here. And I'm going to have some more leaders in the clubhouse because, last year we had a lot of rookies, and I'm very proud of the way we competed last year. I mean, in my first year as a manager, we only end up winning 9 less games in the regular season than the year that we won it. And we got off to a tough start.
Yeah.
And
you guys kind of had to build.
And we battled. And that's the grit that I told these guys, I said, hey, I will sooner not be breathing before I let this team give up. I said, so, you guys better buckle up, or I'm going to turn that door into a revolving door, and I'll get guys in here who will get it done. And eventually it all came together. Very proud of my guys. I'm just excited to see their growth. And I'm excited for our fans to see our growth because, we've got the highest attendance in the league every year, man.
Right.
That's the one thing I would like to say to our community is just thank you so much for your support for us. You can't quantify how much that means.
Yeah.
And, on a lot of these guys who come out, I pitched in college regionals where there's, 5,000 or more, 8,000 people. I pitched in, the spring training the Major League Spring Training Stadium down in Arizona for the Brewers, but man, Ogden, it's like that stadium there, our fans are right there. You know what I mean?
Right there, but the view.
Yeah.
Man,
yeah.
It's just Americana right there.
It is, man.
It's Ogden, USA.
You got it.
Right there.
You got it. So in essence, what you can expect is that we will have a roster full of competitors. We have good human beings who uphold, and I tell these guys, look, when you go out in our community, I expect that you represent us in a certain way, and there's that's a non-negotiable right there.
They don't just go out in our community; they're living in our community.
Yep.
They're living with community members.
Right. And
Host
our host family infrastructure is as good as it gets. We've got people who let our players drive their cars and stuff like that.
I know.
It's amazing.
We got a council member that hosts.
Yeah. And so just roster full of competitors. We're going to play hard every night, and I expect to contend. That's all you can ask because you know what? You get that playoff spot, anything can happen.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I don't think people realize how rare the Nick Sabans are.
Oh, sure.
Right, to have the run that they do.
Sure.
The Kirby Smart or
right.
They're rare.
Belichick.
That you build into becoming that.
Sure.
But at this level, it would be particularly challenging and destabilizing because you're trying to develop players to their greatness, which then really counts against your success because it means that you sent a player up to the bigs.
Sure.
Right?
But it does have a cyclical effect in terms of when you get a good player in, you get that guy signed, you get the next good player who's in his position.
Who wants to be here.
Yeah.
To get signed,
right?
To do the work to get signed.
We track all of those metrics in terms of, I think since 2021, I'd have to fact check myself on this number, but we've got 20 guys signed or something like that, and those guys have gone on and made a name for themselves, major league organizations, and with us being an MLB partner league, they install all of the technology in our stadiums to be able to scout our guys, whether there is a physical scout sitting in that stand or not. So the game, has turned into, you see a lot of spin rates, you see a lot of exit velocities, you see a lot of these metrics that kind of quantify what Major League Baseball is looking for, and so they'll find you.
Oh, yeah.
And I always tell these guys, look, Baseball Reference is kind of the gold standard for where you go to see a guy's stats and all this kind of stuff. I say, hey, look, anytime you're checked into a game or you're on that starting lineup or your name's on that card,
you're being
that's going on your Baseball Reference, man.
Yeah.
So, you better make it count. And so, just a great group of guys, and we're gonna compete.
Good. We expect you to compete. We'll be there to watch you and support you as you compete.
I appreciate that.
You're repping the flag, dude. You're repping the brand.
Of course, man.
You got the O on your helmet. It's O-Town. It's freaking important.
Got the Ogden post stamp from when I was born, man.
Oh my gosh.
From the year I was born.
I didn't even sit and take time to read all the.
Yeah, it would take you a minute.
It's a lot of ink. It's a lot of ink.
It is, man. Got a lot of Ogden stuff on me to be.
I know you do.
with
Yeah, I can't tell that you're a baseball guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, or an Ogden guy.
Right.
All right, so we're kind of coming to the end, but before we do, what the thing I bet the most nervous I've been in this job, and it's probably silly because I probably have had more consequential situations, but was when I was throwing out the first pitch last year.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't be that guy.
Dude, you can't.
Can't, right?
I mean, look, I can get you out there, get you a little, look, we can get you a little couple sim practices if you want to, look.
Actually, so
we can turn up the crowd noise. Hey, look, I'll turn up crowd noise during spring training just so guys have to, work on our verbal communication on pop flies and, pop-up priority and stuff like that. So, hey, if you want to come out and, hey, I'll get all the guys out there too.
Hey, you know what? I could do one better, actually. True story. I got a daughter that's a catcher in softball.
Oh, okay.
She's just a total dirt kid. Loves to be a catcher. She used to, when she was really young, we put the gear on her and she'd go out, start the game, and she'd go out there and roll around in the dirt, do dirt angels just to start. She'd rub it all around the pants and then she'd take some warm up to get the game started. She's that kid. That's why she's a catcher.
Yeah.
But I put her in full gear and we went out and just did reps.
There you go.
Two nights in a row before the opening game. And I mean, I can throw heat. I got it, but I got a wild noodle.
Hey, man.
Big time.
Strike percentage is king.
I guess, but I played a lot of third, and they put me in the hot box because I was dumb enough not to move.
Sure.
But I was fitty on that throw.
Hey, well, you know what?
Right.
Look, baseball's a pretty smart person sport. Our guys will put respect on it. If you come out and pump a strike, or you come out and you pump some heat, we'll put some respect on it no matter what.
I think
if you do both, I don't know, man.
I bet I pumped a 39 mile an hour last year. I was so scared. Just put it in there, man. Don't be the guy that short hops it or throws it into the stands.
We'll get the track man on you. We'll get all your metrics, spin rate. Hey, you might be getting recruited after, man. You might be.
Never know.
Yes.
Never know.
Second career.
Well, I'll do the prep. I'll show up in true form.
Hey.
I'll set the expectation. I'll respect the game.
I appreciate that.
Right.
Appreciate that.
Boy, man, I'm really setting myself up for failure now.
Hey, well, I'm at my office at the stadium every day, man. You want to get out there and run a few practice reps? I'm always down.
I love baseball.
Yeah.
And I love softball. I got 2 daughters that are playing softball and been coaching them until, becoming mayor, actually.
Yeah.
And love watching them develop. So I love watching the game still. And look forward to watching you, supporting Ogden's success, supporting the success of an Ogden boy.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. I have mad respect for you. I know what you do is not easy, and you know what? Just keep going, man. I know you're leading us well.
Thanks, man. Right back at you, brother. Ogden boy, making us proud, Evan Parker. We end every episode with what we call a call to action. I don't think there's anything more appropriate for a call to action today than to mark your calendars for opening day.
Yes, sir.
Do you know the date offhand?
Okay, so we open in Oakland on May 20th. Okay?
Home opening.
No. Open in Oakland in May 20th, just so people aren't confused about the schedule. May 27th, we open at home against the Yuba Sutton High Wheelers, the defending champions.
May 27th.
May 27th.
Okay. I know it's on my calendar because I got to throw the first pitch.
Okay.
Jeez, I'm already stressed for it.
Hey, man. Well,
it's all right. I'll start putting in the reps. Get a little earlier start
You got
this
a few
year.
weeks.
Right?
You'll be all right.
All right. Mark your calendars. Call to action, May 27th. Ogden Raptors. Show up. Show out for Ogden. Show up for Evan.
Yes, sir.
Let's make sure our guys know that they got our support.
Appreciate you, my man. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Thank you, dude. Thank you.
Good to see you, man.
Great to see you.
That's it for today. Ogden Way. It's what we do. It's who we are. Until next time, be good, do good, stay good.